Yesterday we had left it in Putana Samharam. Kadachidantarhita Putanatma Kamsaf Prayukta Kilakapi Maya Nidra Paradhina Jane Nishithe Vrajam Yashoda Kritiravivesha. When people were asleep, she, in the disguise of Yashoda, I have told you in Bhagavatam, that is not the mention. She comes as a wet nurse to feed. Not essentially in the form of Yashoda, but here they say when people were asleep, she came. Now, Stanyena Krishna, I have described all these shlokas yesterday. It is since we are used to serials and series. I have to give you a recap of what is there. Stanyena Krishnaha saha putanayaha pranan papau lupta punarbhavayaha yad adbhutam bhavayatam jananam stanandhayatvam na punarbabhuva. When Bhagavan sucked the milk from her bosom, it also happened that he consumed the poison that she gave, the milk that she was able to secrete, and after that her Jivatma as well. I have mentioned this in one of my earlier lectures in Bhagavatam in very many places, if you have heard of it or probably if you remember. A question that probably a lot of you may have failed to ask, but your children may ask or your grandchildren may ask is, how can a lady who has not been pregnant and not delivered be able to lactate? So there are very many medical practitioners here who have formally undergone the medical training in terms of qualification and practice. We have a urologist, we have an endocrinologist, we have a cardiologist. It's a mini hospital here. We have a physiotherapist, we have 2 pediatricians, we have 2 ophthalmologists. So we thought of having a training camp in the middle. A doctor's camp, and that would have had more people visiting it as equal to a discourse. So that said, now there is a certain condition that I have heard from medical practitioners called galactoria, where a woman, even if she is not pregnant and has not delivered, will be able to secrete milk under certain conditions and stimulation. So when probably Putana got to see Krishna for a moment, though she wanted her only maqsad, her objective was to kill the baby. Looking at the beauty, nobody can escape Krishna's brilliance. So he was so brilliant that it was very tough to not fall in love with him. They say that even of Rama, Shatroho Prakhyata Viryasya Ranjaniyasya Vikramaihi. Shatroho Prakhyata, the greatness of Rama lied when the enemies used to praise him more than what his well-wishers could. So, be it Tara, be it Shurpanaka, be it Mandodari, they ended up praising Rama more than what his own kith and kin could. Because that was his brilliance, his bravery, his dharmic adherence. But Krishna was everywhere. To even imagine that he is Bhagavat Avataram initially will be tough, because he used to steal, he used to lie, he used to dance. So to even imagine that Paramatma can be this is what makes Krishna different. But what makes Krishna all the more different is all that he did. Later, he is the one who gave Bhagavad Gita Upadesham. So the one who delivered Bhagavad Gita is the one who stole. The one who delivered Bhagavad Gita is the one who danced. The one who delivered Bhagavad Gita is the one who loved butter more in other houses than his own house. So that is the greatness of Krishna. But Krishna's beauty lied in where people fell in love with him that very instant. And even in Acharya Parampara, I can't think of any Acharya who has not even mentioned of Krishna. Everybody has mentioned Krishna. So even people who were completely engrossed in Advaita philosophy, where in Advaita you have 2 levels of Brahman, Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. There is a Vyavaharika Dasha and Paramarthika Dasha, where Shankara said in his philosophy that after Sagunopasana, after having the Saguna Brahma Upasana, it will lead you to Nirguna Brahman, which doesn't have a form, which doesn't have qualities. So essentially the highest form of Brahman in the Advaita philosophy is bereft of form and bereft of qualities. But even people who wrote treatises and dissertations on such a Brahman could not escape Krishna. One example is Madhusudana Saraswati from Vangadesham, who said towards the end of his work, he says, yes, I've written on Advaita. Yes, we believe in Nirguna Brahman. Yes, we believe in a Brahman that doesn't have a form. Yes, we believe in a Brahman that doesn't have qualities. Yes, we believe that is the highest form of Brahman. But when I close my eyes, I can think of only one who plays the flute in front of me. Krishnat param tattvamaham na jane. I can't think of any other form than Krishna. So imagine a person who's delivering a philosophy of Advaita, finally submitting himself and saying Krishnat param tattvamaham na jane. Sadashiva Brahmendra, like how Madhusudana Saraswati dominated that particular period of time in the east of India. We had yet another philosopher called Sadashiva Brahmendra who followed the Advaita Parampara. Finally, he said Sarvam Brahmamayam and all of that. And at the end, he said Manasa Sancharare Mada Shikhi Pincha Alankrita Chikure. When I close my eyes, I can see only the peacock feathers that come in front of my eyes. Who can escape Krishna's magic? So, nobody can. Why? Even Putana couldn't. So for that instant, probably she must have attained motherhood. And the moment he saw him, the moment she attained motherhood, probably the condition of galactoria would have worked and she would have secreted milk. Because I'm asking and answering this question because I'm sure you will have a lot of Prashna Chakravartis in your family. You know, some people are qualified and adept to ask only questions. So when we have produced, when our productions in the house are filled with questions, we should preempt those questions and answer those questions so that they know we can never mess with this person. So that said, Yadadbhutam bhavayatam jananam stanandhayatvam. Whoever listens to Krishna having drunk the milk of Putana will never have to drink milk from somebody else, which means you will never have another janma. Stanandhayatvam na punarbabhuva. How did she fall? Gopascha sambhuya guhopamakshim swaghosha nirhadita vishwagosham gata sumaikshanta nishacharim tam bhimakritim bhaimarathim ivanyam. Like the 7th night of the 7th month of the 77th year of a human being who's ordained to live for 100 years, how horrible and excruciating the pain will be in that night. With that pain, she fell on ground and she died when Krishna suckled her. He says, Bhimakritim Bhaimarathim Ivanyam. Now, Putanavadham is over. Now we will have to go to the next. Now he has not yet been named. Remember, I told you, we know he is Krishna. But they have not yet given him his name. Kanna, Korande, Raja, Pattu, some name. Right? Some doc nom was given in Kolkata. The most famous thing is you should never be called by your name. There will be a doc nom. So doc nom. So the doc nom had to be given. Now this boy, as he was afflicted with this Putana coming and her body lying bare ground. Imagine, few days since birth. One big dead body is lying outside the house. It was a big shocker for them. Breaking news. So the body was lying outside. Disposing that body was another big question. Right? How to dispose this body? Then it was finally found that each part of her body represented a fragrant material, agarbatti material. Then mother was worried. See, at the end of the day, when we look at Kaushalya and Yashoda and Devaki, they are mothers. Now they should not talk philosophy. He is Paramatma. Paramatma has Swarupa Nirupaka Dharmam and Nirupita Swarupa Viseshanam. Nothing can happen to him. Mother should be concerned. She said, what has happened to my child? Immediately call all the people who give mantras. Grahadi doshan apahantu kama goptus satam gopatayas sametaha. Sargam 4, shloka number 9. Suvarna sutra gratita bhiramam. Because you should be at the same pace. Na pora speed la mono. Suvarna sutra gratita bhiramam panchayudhim abharanam bavandhuhu. So for which Appaya Dikshita states, I have to read 2 lines of that great man's commentary. He says, Panchayudhim, Panchanam Shankachakradinam Bhagavad Ayudhanam Samaharam Abharanam Babanduhu. So, Krishna, there was a talisman, correct? That's the word in English, which is Darat, Raksha. So, this Darat or Raksha ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? తాయెత్తు ఎలా పెడుతున్నాం సో తాయెత్తు. తెలుగులో ఏం చెప్తారండి రక్షకి? తాయాలు, తావేలు. సరే, తావేలు, తాయతు, దెన్ తాళెత్తు, రక్ష. హిందీ మే క్యా బోల్తే హై అన్నది? தாவீஸ். அது உருது மாதிரி இருக்கே, அது ஹமீஸ் மாதிரி இருக்குது. தாவீஸ். ரக்ஷா பந்தன்னா அது தங்க கட்டுறது இல்லையோ? ரக்ஷா. சரி, ரக்ஷா. ഓക്കെ, രക്ഷ. രക്ഷ. ഓക്കെ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ രക്ഷ. ദെൻ വാട്ട് ലാംഗ്വേജ്? എന്താണ് മലയാളത്തിൽ? എന്താണ് രക്ഷൈ? ഓക്കെ, തായത്ത്. തായത്ത്, തായത്ത്. അപ്പുറം then what else? What is left? मराठी में काहे आहे, काठे, कूठे आहे, काहे आहे, दो आहे. what आहे? what? tell me. ஒடியாவா? இது ஒடியா யாரும் இங்கே இல்லை. எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு நம்ம திரௌபதி முர்மு தான் இருக்கா. சரி. ஸோ நவ் ஃபைன், யூ ஹவ் காட் த மீனிங். that is பஞ்சானாம் சங்கச்சக்கராதீனாம் பகவதாயுதானாம் சமாஹாரம் ஆபரணம் பபந்துஹு. that talisman traditionally, you can even now get it designed from your jeweler. It should have 5 ayudhams. That is called the raksha. Shankam, chakram, gada, sharngam and khadgam. Nandakam, kaumodaki, panchajanyam, sudarshanam. What is left? Sharngam. So these are the 5 ayudhams. Panchayudham. So he says a black rope with all these 5. You can create a nice, it will look like a designer. You tell that what is that Sabyasachi, tell him that he will do for, he will charge your house for it. இந்த மாதிரி ஒன்று போட்டுட்டு வீட்டையே எழுதி கொடுத்துருவார். ஸோ பஞ்சாயுதாபரணம், பஞ்சாயுதாபரண தாரணம் பாலானாம் தோஷ நிவாரணார்த்தம். ஸோ வாட் Appaya Dikshita says is பாலானாம் தோஷ நிவாரணார்த்தம். Generally we have had this concept in our houses, right? You go outside and come, some elderly person in the house will say திருஷ்டி. ஒன்றுமே இருக்காது போடுறதுக்கு. நம்மளை பார்த்து என்னத்தை திருஷ்டி போடுவா, பட் பாடி சொல்லுவோம் ஐயோ திருஷ்டி. So they will immediately use a handful of salt, some chilies, camphor, all of this, and then they'll say don't look at it. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣೇ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಪಟ್ಟುಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ದೋಷ ನಿವಾರಣಾರ್ಥಂ ಜಾತಸ್ಯ ಪಂಚಮೇ ದಿನೇ ಶುಭದೇ ಮುಹೂರ್ತೆ. ಜಾತಸ್ಯ ಪಂಚಮೇ ದಿನೇ, ಫ್ರಾಮ್ ದ ಬರ್ತ್ ಡೇ ಆನ್ ದ 5th day. ಜಾತಸ್ಯ, ಫ್ರಾಮ್ ದ ಬರ್ತ್, ಪಂಚಮ ದಿನೇ, ದ 5th day, ಶುಭದೇ ಮುಹೂರ್ತೆ. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸಿ ದ ಗುಡ್ ಮುಹೂರ್ತಂ. ಪಂಚಾಯುಧಾಭರಣಧಾರಣಂ ಇಷ್ಟಮಾಹುಹು ಇತಿ ವಚನಾತ್ ಆಹುಹು. ಸೊ ಹಿ ಸೇಸ್ ದೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್. So even during the times of Appaya, this saying was there that from the day 5th day you have to put that Panchayudha-bharanam. So this concept was there. We need to revive all of this. So that was tied to Krishna. Now the beauty is the beautiful wordplay. When Draupadi was humiliated in the middle of the Sabha, she said, Shankachakra Gadapanir Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda. Oh, the one who has Shankam, Chakram and other weapons. Bhagavan has all these astrams. Since he is adorned with the astram, remember, Ayudham, Acharyas see as a weapon as well as an ornament. Because he looks so pretty, the way he carries it. கையில் இப்படி கன்னை பிடிச்சிருந்தா போலீஸ்மேன் இவ்வளோ அழகாக இருக்கார். See, most movies, if you see, the heroine will be impressed with the hero, the way he handles it. And the gun edukano, then he has to do it. Abdilan chutta, oh, eppadi irkar. So the same ayudham becomes an abharanam. So Bhagavan has Shankam Chakram. Draupadi says, you are carrying astram. So you are astri. The one who is carrying astram is astri. Maybe because you are astri, you are not protecting this tree. You are able to get the word play. Now, that astram is what Bhagavan carries. For what? To protect his devotees. So, astram is under the control of Bhagavan, and those which are subservient to Bhagavan and wait for his beck and call, protect the devotees. Now, that which is meant to protect his devotees and are meant to be subservient to him are now meant to protect him. Because she puts a talisman saying that let these Panchayudhams protect you. Shankam and Chakram are talking, ennada nadakkurathu. How can we protect him? So, Panchayudha bharana dharanam ishtamahuhu. So, that said, next Krishna was placed next to a Shakatam. Very fast, Vedanta Desika takes you through those pastimes. He is kept next to a Shakatam. Shakatam is a broken cart. Why was it a practice? Because in the villages it was believed that if you keep a broom or a broken cart next to the child, they will end up warding away the evil eyes and will protect the child. It was a belief. Now in belief system you don't give proof. Have you proven that how many children were protected with brooms next to them? The broom couldn't protect itself in Delhi. So, that said, let us now assume the Shakatam is there. Vidaritastasya padagrayogat vikiryamano bahudha pritivyam shabdayamana shakatakhya daityaha sankshobhayamasa jagantya bhikshnam. The child was kept next to the Shakatam. Child was in a beautiful cradle. See, it is very tough to escape Alvars of the Tamil tradition. If you are a polyglot, but if you know only one language, very jingoistic, namki Tamil veladu, then you will never learn Alvars. You are missing Alvars, that's all. If you are very jingoistic about only your language, you will never. If you don't learn Kannada Borolla, sir, Guttilla, that is the only line, Guttilla only we know, then you will miss Purandara Dasa's kritis. The more you know, the more languages you know, the more you will be able to enjoy the literature. Varadune ukanda nangal Tamil illan. Me ashadu tharma Tamil illan biju athu dam biju illan jona pochu. See, in bhakti you have to keep learning. But if you want to enter politics, then stop learning. Because learning should stop there, right? So, you have to learn languages to understand the literature. Alvars, Periyazhwar, to put Krishna to sleep, he constructs a cradle. We don't know if this was the cradle in those days, but he constructs a cradle, not a normal cradle. He's a poor Brahmana living in Srivilliputturu. But in poetry, you can be rich. See, in reality is only the problem. Manikam katti, vairamidai katti, ani ponnal seida vanna siru tottil, peni unakku piraman vidu thandan, manik kurallane talelo vayyamalandane talelo udayar kanamaniyodu onmadulam poo idai viravi kotha ezhil tezhiginodu vidayeru kabali ishan vidu thandan udayai அழில் அழில் தாலேலோ உலகமளந்தானே தாலேலோ வையமளந்தானே தாலேலோ உலகமளந்தானே தாலேலோ எந்தம் பிரானார் எழில் திருமார்வர்க்கு சந்தம் அழகிய தாமரை தாளர்க்கு இந்திரன் தானும் எழிலுடை கிங்கிணி தந்துவனாய் நின்றான் தாலேலோ தாமரை தாமரை கண்ணனே தாலேலோ சங்கின் வளை ஒலியும் சேவடி கிங்கிணியும் அங்கை சரிவளையும் நானும் அரைத்தொடையும். Beautiful verses. I'm not able to recollect the remaining pasurams, but the way he sings, how much of motherly affection Periyazhwar exhibits to Krishna. So Krishna was put into that cradle. The cradle was kept next to a Shakatam. Now there was an asura called Utkacha who had did anupraveshyam into that achetana vastu and was wanting to kill Krishna, but Krishna with his tender foot was able to push the Shakatam many feet away above the ground in stratosphere. What do they? Troposphere, stratosphere. Now, this is where Bhattatri comes into our equation. In Narayaniyam, Bhattatri says a few parts were only found on ground. The remaining were missing. He asks, where did it go? It all went to Vaikuntham. Because Bhagavat Padam gave moksham to Shakatam. See, this is again, achetana vastu getting moksham is, you cannot fathom, because Jivatma gets moksham. How can achetana vastu get moksham? That is why you never question Krishna. In Krishna Avataram, everything is magic. Shakatam has got moksha. When you go to Vaikuntham, you will see Shakatam. If we go, remember, Annike சொன்னார், அவர் அப்பவே சொன்னார், இருந்ததுன்னு அவரே சொன்னார் அப்படின்னு சொல்ல வேண்டியதுதான். அப்பவே சொன்னார், ஒரு குரூப்பாக போகிறோன்னு வச்சுக்கோ, அப்பவே சொன்னார் பாருங்க. விதாரிதஸ்தஸ்ய பதக்ரயோகாத் விகீரியமாணோ பகுதா பிருத்திவ்யாம் शब्दायमान शकटाख्य दैत्य संक्षोभयामास जगन्त्यभीक्ष्यम. Now, still he has not been named. Adukulle, the first 10 days, 2 murders. Done. Now, he had to be given a name, he got Krishna, that is okay.